Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Sass and Surrender. I am Drew Spanks on FetLife, or Drew,
I fly away on that life or fly.
and today we are talking about implements. We all love them, we all hate them,
We
we
love to hate them.
we love to hate them.
You don't love, well, you don't. You
What do
just
you always
love
say?
them.
It's a
Strongly mixed feelings.
strongly mixed feelings
It's my theme of spanking.
in implements.
Yeah.
But yeah, so implements.
We
What?
have a lot, so we're just kind of run down some.
Well, I don't need. We probably need to even explain what implements are. I mean, implements are anything you spank a bottom with, right?
I guess, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think that needed much explanation.
Well, you never know. It could be like a newbie out there, like discovering spanking. And like,
I suppose.
what's an implement?
All right. Well, it implements something you spank someone with
Yeah,
or hit someone with. But we're spankos, so we're gonna probably
we're
just
gonna say
focus like,
spanking.
yeah, we don't have whips. We're not with
We're
people.
not with people. I don't know. One of our friends is trying to make us into whip people.
We'll see.
We'll definitely talk about him
Anyway,
because he has he
yeah.
has yeah.
Well, this.
We'll talk about him because implements are interesting because you can get them from all over the place, all the different kinds. I mean, as much as going into your kitchen or buying them from specific people. And we have one that is makes up like 90% of our implement bag. So
We'll get to that.
we'll get to that.
All right. So obviously,
One you don't have to buy.
is your hand.
Yeah, you get two of them. Most people have two.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a classic implement, I would say.
Hand spankings are great.
It's my favorite.
That are the one spanking.
I know. It hurts though. It hurts my hands.
Yeah.
We don't really talk about that much when it comes to tops and spanking. But yeah, it can like I have no idea how you can warm up your hands for hand spanking.
I don't know, babe.
You don't know either? Yeah.
And that's why you don't spank with
I
them.
don't know. I have delicate hands.
Yeah. You get to.
I don't have like the like rough hands, but
Yeah. Like
construction
a
workers.
construction worker hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've heard that from a bunch of people.
Yes.
Like, the big unfinished, unlotioned
Lotion.
construction worker hands
Very calloused hand.
can hurt more.
I think so. Your hands are not. I mean, they're decently heavy. I remember the first time I played with you, I thought that
The my
that
hands were heavy.
were pretty heavy-handed.
Oh,
But now, I don't know.
yeah. Now she's changed her mind.
I'm too used to it.
She's too used to
I'm
it.
too, yeah.
But they're good for warming up because it's a little bit gentler. You can make them, stinging or thuddy, depending on the way you like shape or curve your hand.
Yeah.
We're both like doing it. You can't see us, but we're both big weirdos. But yeah, depending on the way you hit with them, like how high you go, how fast you come down, where you strike, the hand can be it can be a dangerous implement.
Oh, I think, yeah.
You know, it's I think it's good for warm up because you can kind of go lighter, warm up all the areas. It's a warm skin on warm skin. We've never done a cold hand spanking.
I don't, what, were you like,
We live well, yeah. It's
what are you gonna do? Stick your hand in the freezer for a while and then
true.
spank me?
Doesn't really
Or
get cold in Florida, so
anyway,
I don't know. I just was thinking. I was thinking about this is where my mind went. Like somebody who's like up in New York and it's like freezing cold out, like -20, and they come in and they're like, "You naughty girl are getting a spanking." And they pull down her pants and they've got cold hands.
like,
I don't know if that's worse or not. We should try that sometime.
I
When it
read a
gets down to
story
the
once
60s.
where the guy like had a bucket of ice and he put his paddle in the ice and
Oh,
made her butt all cold.
we had one of the guys that came to one of our parties. He had this like sword thing. It was like a paddle, but it like looked like a sword.
Hmm,
And he had always put it in the freezer and then like spank people with it.
interesting.
Yeah. And then when we were at Gas last year, that one vendor, I can't remember what his name is. He's the one that made my cane. He had those like Corian kitchen countertop things
Uh,
that he said were made to put in the freezer.
huh.
Anyway, cold hand spanking.
I bet it stings more.
Try it. Let us know. Just hit us up in the comments with some like
But
cold hand spanking. Is it bad? I'm sure there's some listeners that are like in colder areas than us.
I bet it stings more.
Maybe. Yeah, it got down to like the 70s here today in Florida. It was like freaking beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
Sunny in 70s.
But yeah, so I mean, I love hand spanking. I think there's something more, it's intimate and
Yeah. It's way more intimate. It's like you're talking about like skin on skin, like
the closeness.
the
Usually you're
closeness.
over the knee with hand spanking. Not
Yeah.
always, but I mean, it's easiest to do that. So I think
Yeah, true.
there's a closeness with that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and I mean, if you've already paddled me a bunch or something and you were spanking with your hand, it would still hurt pretty good. Like
that's
if I've
true.
already been spanked the day before, your hand can
Oh yeah, that's true.
pretty stingy
It's true.
when they're more tender.
So
So
beat you really hard the day before and then come in with hand spanking. I like it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely
No, but I think that the biggest thing with that is like there's the connection and the skin on skin. I saw a picture on set where someone had said that they always end every punishment with a hand spanking to like
oh,
bring back the closeness. That's what made me think of
that's cute.
if my butt already hurts, it actually hurts. 'Cause in her comment, she was like, and a hand spanking hurts a lot on a freshly paddled butt. So,
Is there any way where you don't like a hand spanking?
no, not anywhere that I'd like to be spanked.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Well, because sometimes like people do like what are they're called like thigh turkeys,
oh, yes,
where you like
I did that.
yeah
But yeah,
you like hit the thigh really really hard with your hand and it makes like a turkey looking.
yeah, we did that at one of your parties.
Yeah.
Someone did that. I'm, I don't play often on the fronts of my thighs. I'm more sensitive there. And I think it's psychosomatic thing because I used to have to do shots in my leg,
Mm.
on my thighs. But I'll do stuff like that once in a while.
Well, I said in the last episode, a type 1 diabetic. And the one place, well, that's where I like keep my like my pods, my insulin pump like goes in there. But when I used to do like shots there, I hated it. It was like
Hmm.
super, super painful. Like you're supposed to like pinch the skin and do it.
Yeah, that's what I had to do when I
Ugh.
did growth hormones, and I really do think that's why. I mean, it hurts more on the front of your thighs. There's not as much fat and cushion either, but I think part of it for me is just the like past trauma of having to give myself shots there and like hating that so much.
Huh,
That makes me really nervous about letting my thighs get hit.
huh,
Because like it really is like you can go all the way around the side of my thigh, inside of my thigh, and then as soon as you hit that like line where it's like what I think is the top of my thigh, and like
yeah, it's blurs around what's the tops and sides of things, I
right,
guess, in the spanking.
yeah. But anyway, back to implements,
Yeah, sorry, in this kind of squirrel moment there. Yes,
positions. We'll do another time.
yeah. So let's talk about like some classic implements other than the hand. I mean, that's probably the most classic.
So we have a few hairbrushes. I actually really love, even though you don't use them as much because we have all our other implements that you're a bigger fan of. But we did buy those couple vintage hairbrushes,
Yeah,
which are cool.
yeah. What were they made? Celluloid?
Yeah, celluloid and some other plastic that was used in like the 50s. And I like those because I think they're super vibey. Like you can picture, getting spanked with that back in the day.
Yeah, like
They're from
maybe
like the
somebody did.
50s.
Or
Yeah.
maybe somebody did get spanked with it.
Someone probably did get spanked with a hairbrush back in the day.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
we
a
just,
vintage hairbrush. So,
or
um,
they just brushed their hair. So
maybe.
we like to think
Um,
they're always spanked with it. But yeah, all the hairbrushes are good. Like I think I've only broken like a few in all my years spanking butts. So they're also like pretty reliable, which I could do a good thing. And I like that they're like small, so it's still kind of like that intimate feel. I think anything classic for me is like very nostalgic feeling. I don't know, just it's amazing. I love the hairbrushes. I've also seen like that they're starting like some of the as I was referencing some of the people that make implements are starting to like make vintage
Style,
remakes.
yeah. Hairbrushes.
Yeah, like hairbrushes.
Yeah.
That's like a
Yeah, I think that's
easy process.
I think for me that hairbrushes and small paddles are really where like I would say my mind goes in terms of discipline and my case. Like
Yeah.
that's why I have so many small paddles that I hate so much. Um, because it's just like I said in the last episode, like my kink leans very disciplinary, and there's just something about that, over the knee paddle or hairbrush that really like gives that image for me and gives that vibe for me that I think is what draws me to those, even though small hefty paddles are usually what I am least strong against.
And why would you say it's like a classic implement like as far as airbrushing? Is that like or is the implication that like a girl like had a hairbrush in her room and that was just like the closest thing
I
to
don't know, I just think that's what you see in like old movies and stuff more with like not that I promote spanking your children with a hairbrush, but like that's what happened, back in the day.
back in the
Like
day?
that was a pretty common. I would say hairbrush and belts are probably the two most commonly
Yeah.
like heard about implements when you actually like talk about punishing and spanking.
But like belt makes sense because like, the dad's wearing the belt, he's going to take his belt off and spank, the naughty child.
Yeah, mom's got her hairbrush.
But like, is that what like moms carried around
I don't
hairbrushes?
know.
I'm just curious, like,
I think a wooden spoon is also probably a
oh
big
yeah, that's a classic.
with the mom vibe. Mom's
Yeah,
wooden spoon.
getting it out of the kitchen and but like what spoons are even not even that bad.
I don't I think they break easily, but they are still that kind of like classic discipline vibe, I think.
Or like the free paint sticks they give you at like Home Depot. Don't hurt at all. But you gotta actually they hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I know for
It
me
seems
that
like
I
household.
always yeah, it's a house, it's a domestic feel
Yeah,
to the old school, back in my day.
yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other ones that would be classic. So you've got belt, hairbrush, wooden spoon,
Canes, kind of.
canes, but like that's
That's
like
more of like a
overseas,
school,
right?
yeah. Or well, like not necessarily. Still back in the day, like switch or a cane, and
Oh, Switch is classic.
yeah.
Like go out and I made you go cut me a Switch. That would be awesome.
No, but we mostly don't do that because my skin's sensitive.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you
Rip
want
through
to
it.
spend like 20 minutes getting every single knot out of the switch, by all means, I'll go cut you one. But I'm not stripping it down.
That sounds like way too much work.
Yeah, that's I think what it
We
is.
have way too many things that are still to waste time with switches.
You have a cane that's very switch like anyway. But I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like I'd be much more into that. But my skin can break kind of easily.
Yeah.
And I scar easily. So we put in a lot of effort to not break my skin. And with switches being, bumpy and having little knots in them, I think that
Thorns.
yeah, the biggest thorns.
I don't know. I think so.
I think that's I mean, you've never brought it up, so
Well,
but I assume
seems
that's
like a
kind
pain
of
in the
why
ass
we
to
don't
me.
do that.
Yeah.
I
Just
have
seems
been
like
switched in my life.
uh,
Not as like a kid, like and as an adult or play. Once.
one of my favorite ones, I don't know if it's a classic or not, but more innovative than anything was like I once spanked somebody with the curtain rod.
Oh yeah, I've been spanked with like
It's
the thing that turns the curtain, not like a curtain rod.
oh yeah. Oh true,
Like
that's
the
right.
thing
Yeah, the turn the curtain.
yeah.
Yeah. Like the thing that's on the
I didn't
blinds.
mean
On
that.
the blinds.
I was just
That's what I meant.
clarifying for people
A
that
blind rod.
yeah, not like a legit curtain rod in case anyone was
Yeah.
confused there. Yes, I
But
got
man, those things are awesome.
those are very switchy. They feel very much like very similar to a switch or a small cane.
We should try that sometime too.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a free implement that's just around your house. I think that's what's best about the classic implements is they're just stuff that you
Oh, and
already
a
have.
sandal.
Oh, a sandal. What's it
The
called?
chancla.
What is it?
Chancla.
Chocolate.
Chancleta.
Or yeah, that's what you call it, chancleta.
Yeah.
What is
That's what
that?
it's like a sandal and I think it's Spanish. It must be.
Have you ever been spanked with one?
I don't think so, actually.
Huh. I wonder if it's as bad. Because flip flops and all that crap, they don't even hurt.
That doesn't seem like it would hurt very much to me, but
I
I,
love the vibe of that though. Like, take off your flip flop and I'm gonna beat you with it.
yeah, well, that's still that kind
But
of
then
like,
it doesn't hurt.
well, the idea comes from like moms.
Mm,
So it probably hurts their kids. But again, we are not promoting that.
no,
So, but for me, no, that would not do a whole lot.
no.
Maybe a lighter player.
Or maybe like one of your class
I
that has
did
like
recently
rubber.
see some pictures of like wooden flip flops that someone made for spanking, which I
Mm,
was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because it's really more like a paddle, like it's
Yeah.
heavier than a flip flop.
I don't know. I will say there's nothing like the feeling of like walking around like in public, like wearing the belt that I would just turn your butt red way. I love that at the top.
Oh yeah,
Do you love that on the bottom? Knowing that I'm wearing the belt that I just beat you with.
I guess I hadn't really thought about it. I do think that's cool. Yeah, it's pretty hot, but you know that when people don't.
It's intimate,
Yeah, I agree.
like the hand.
But I think the biggest thing for people and their preference in implements is there's kind of like a spectrum stingy versus thuddy. Stingy being more like whips and canes, and thuddy being like hefty paddles. And then I think I like a little bit of the middle of the road, which is one of the reasons why I personally like leather because it's not super thuddy and it's not super stingy
Well,
either
like,
way.
well, let's talk about stingy and buddy. So, like, stingy is more like centralized pain, like a very small, like, like sting.
And superficial, like lighter, like more surface on your skin, not
Mm,
like a thuddy would be like, if
deep
you
muscle.
punch someone, that's all thud, obviously. That's the
Right.
deep muscle. Whereas stingy is more like a switch or a cane or something would bring up like a welt versus deep bruising. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of heavy canes, but you know, the lighter ones I think is more what you would consider stingy, and then thuddy is your deeper pain.
Which one do you think hurts more, stingy or buddy?
I think either end of the spectrum and the extremes, like that's what like I'm kind of the middle of the road person. I think I don't know. That's a really tough thing to say. I guess super stingy, I think I would have a harder time with.
Mm,
I don't love things on either hyper end of the spectrum. Like
right.
I don't like whips and that like
Yeah.
searing sting. But I also like I've been spanked with some things that I'm like, nope, this feels like I'm being punched. I don't like that either, which is why I think I prefer or love to hate implements that kind of give a bit of both
Hmm.
because it's not too extreme in either aspect. For me personally, I know, we have a friend that I would say overall is a lighter player than me, but she could definitely take way more thuddy stuff than I could to a higher level because that's what she prefers. She likes getting hit with things that are dense.
Right. And well, and that like kind of like goes into more like impact play,
Mhm.
like as opposed to like
Spanking.
spanking. Like, because we also have a dude who's an amazing guy that comes to our parties who does a lot of impact play, but like the stuff in his like bag or on his like table thing, it's all like stuff like it's just like way out there and like stuff you wouldn't expect
Yeah.
to be hit with. Like even like getting hit with like little like styrofoam balls and like
Yeah. And I would definitely say that playing with him is more impact play than spanking, which is I would classify spanking as a type of impact play, I guess.
yeah,
That's specific to your butt. Or I guess you could do impact play on your butt. I don't know. For me, spanking is more of I think the vibe of it, I guess, and the type of way you're doing it. Um, I would classify spanking as a type of impact play, but there's other types of impact play that are not spanking. And I would say even getting hit. Like you could take a really hard hit on your butt just because you want the mark, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a spanking. Uh,
right. But like with his stuff being that kind of like out there, would you say that there's like his is like a mix of only stingy and thuddy, or is there like more to it? There's other categories of like his, or does it
No, I
all
think
really fall into that stingy and thuddy category?
I think for me in my mind, the way I have it is like stingy and thuddy are two opposite ends of the spectrum.
Gotcha.
And then most implements have some sort of combination of both, and there's somewhere
Yeah.
maybe more on the stingy side or more on the thuddy side, but then you take like a whip, I would think would be, really far on the stingy side, and then, you have like denser, like if you took a little like like not a real baseball. I mean, sure, people do get into this stuff like that, I
What, a
guess. But
baseball bat?
yeah, but
Oh
like
yeah, they
little
do.
baton, I know it's crazy. Um, but like bats or like punching, like
Hmm.
that to me is like all that would be all thuddy. But I think most implements have some sort of combination
Hmm.
of sting and thud.
True. True. That's a good point. I just was thinking about that because like all his stuff is just like so strange and out there and diabolical.
Yeah,
I
I would
love
say
it.
a lot of his stuff, at least the stuff I've played with him, is more thuddy.
Hmm.
But he also, well, I don't like to get hit on places besides my butt, but so he's pretty gentle on the rest of me. But yeah, it's an interesting experience. It's different, obviously, than playing with you or really anyone I play with, because he has so many things and he does all over my back and arm and stuff like that, which I don't
Massage.
really, yeah. But again, for me, that I wouldn't call any of that heavy impact. It was a little heavy last time, some spots on my back that I guess would consider heavy impact, but for the most part, I consider like most of it feels more massagey than impact play.
Hmm.
But then he'll throw like a really hard smack on my butt and stuff in there. So it's interesting. There's not a lot of people that I would trust to
Yeah.
hit me anywhere besides my butt,
Yeah.
like you and probably him.
Yeah. 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 No. Well, a lot of his like implements too, like are made of a lot of different kinds of materials too. So that's
Yeah, and that's a huge, I mean, we,
materials big for you.
yeah, because we have straps that are leather that I love, and we have straps that are rubber that I
Love.
hate,
Oh, love. Right.
hate.
And he said you're supposed to say love.
Yeah, but I don't love them.
Yeah. So here's our backstory on our material of what makes up a bunch of the straps in our bag, which is rubber. So I was playing one of the first mentors of people I played with had this rubber strap, and I got to see the girls' reaction with it, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh!" And it was like it hurts initially, it's stingy, it's nutty, and then it has like an afterburn, so it hurts like a few seconds later too, like in an intense spreading of a fire way. And so like ever since I watched him play with that and I got to play with it a little bit with him, like I was like, oh, I want this. And like I originally I think I bought one from Caniac that they sold that was like a rubber strap and I just loved it so much. And then fast forward to last year, or no, this year.
Technically,
Sorry,
it was this
this year.
year.
This year is gas, the Georgia spanking party. Highly recommend, by the way. I met our good friend now, Aaron, who works with well, his toy making, implement making company is Alpine Impact, and I said, hey, I want to get this material, this rubber material. I want to have a strap made out of it with certain specifications with a better handle because the one I had just was like flimsy and I don't know. I love the result I got out of using it on everybody, but I just wanted something with a more sturdy handle. And she's like, yeah, I've worked with all sorts of materials, so I can do that. And so, like, there's that gas. I bought it. I paid him for it. We didn't even know what it was going to be like. We had ideas of what I wanted, and the results are freaking amazing. If you go on like our pet life pages, you can see it's like a monster strap. It's huge. It's friggin' huge. And in my head, I was just kind of like imagining the strap that I already had, but just with a better handle. And then we got into like giving measurements of like the materials, and it ended up being huge, like so much bigger.
And interestingly enough, so for his birthday, we got 2 smaller ones made. Well, really, I just asked for 1 smaller one, but Aaron cut something wrong and made a double one, something like that.
Freaking amazing.
So now we have a smaller one and a smaller one that's a double. And the smallest one, in my opinion, is the worst
Huh. Oh, wow.
of all 3. And I think that's because it's so stingy. Like, it has a lot less thud than the other 2. And I think, like I said, for me, that middle of the road balances the 2 extreme of like super stingy or super thuddy. That makes it a little more bearable, slightly. For me.
But the materials are it's interesting. I'm like, so we have a friend. I'm sure he wouldn't mind us calling him out by name on this NYS that we're friends with on Fat too. He has like this like super huge.
I really want to play with that.
She wants to play with that so bad. But it's like I think it's leather.
Yeah, I think it is.
But it's like so long and huge, and I don't even know how you wield that, but he does. And the results seem pretty awesome.
We have some 2 really hefty leather straps too that I would say are almost like paddles. They're so heavy.
Oh yeah. I know which ones you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that I have.
They're big, but they're like stiff. And so
yeah,
like
I think they really need to be worn in better as part of the problem.
well, and that's the thing too with the materials. It depends on the material, depends on the thickness of the material, the length and width and all that stuff. But the thickness really has a lot to do with it because like those are leather, but they have a totally different feel and vibe compared to other leather we had.
Yeah.
And those ones aren't as soft of leather. So the flex that it has. And materials like that, like it's like we get these new implements and one of the things we do that's well, I do that's a little bit different is like when I get a new implement, especially with these like weirder materials, I always get hit with it once and she gets to be the one that does that and gets the joy of watching me cringe.
I know, you're such a baby.
Because I'm a wimp. I'm a light player. I'm low light player. But she gets
like, I do hit it. That's why I do hit it.
Yeah, she does that. She doesn't hit it. So I always get to feel what they feel like so that I know what it's like. Because with these different materials, it's just really hard to tell. I mean, those 3 straps we have that are all made from rubber from Aaron and just different sizes and consistencies all hit completely different.
Yeah.
Every single one.
They're all the same material.
All the same material. And they land completely different.
Just on their size and shape.
Yeah, just on their size and shape. So there's a lot. And like those 3 all have holes too. That's another thing.
Yeah, so that's for people that don't know. So putting holes in a paddle or strap lessens the air resistance, so it hits harder.
Supposedly.
I think that's accurate.
I don't know how anyone would test any of this stuff.
Well, we have the two straps that I have that are
oh yeah, they're the same thing.
Yeah, there's one with holes and one without.
And would you say one hits harder than the other? No.
I think the one with holes is more stingy.
Mm.
But I think that because they're leather, I think that has more of an effect on the weight of it. Like a paddle, if you had holes in it, it would still be as heavy, almost as heavy. I do think the holes in that make it a little bit lighter, and it does have an effect in that sense, and not just the air resistance part. But
interesting.
We'll have to do an experiment sometime.
Yeah, see.
We'll have Aaron make us 2 of the exact same paddle.
Yeah, one without. Well, and like the other thing too with these like interesting materials is sometimes they'll like hit in a strange way or hit like an area that like doesn't feel so pleasant, right?
Yeah, so we'll just take a moment. The places you should hit people and not hit people. You want to stay on the butt. You want to stay away from the kidneys and the lower back. Upper back is, for people that go beyond spanking impact, your upper back is more fine. But for me, and I'm short. I'm just under 5'2", so I'm little. And
more ways than one.
And so I've been hit on the lower back accidentally frequently to the point where I just like I have, almost I don't want to trauma response is a harsh extreme word for that, but for lack of a better term, like I immediately get nervous when I'm feeling like hits are getting too high and too close to my back. And even if they're not really where it would be unsafe, I have a problem with that because it gives me that fear of like, oh, we're gonna get too high. And the weight of the heaviest of our rubber straps, you hit me once that I could have sworn you hit me almost entirely on my back. And he showed me the mark. Like it was high on my butt, but it was a place that I have been hit with other things that
Still crack,
still still not crack. But just the sheer weight of it,
Yeah, like transfers the energy like
yeah,
upwards.
transfers the energy, and I felt it so much higher than where he actually hit. So that's something like, especially with those heavy straps, that he has to be very careful with. And even when new people try to strap, you kind of always
I'm like, hey, like,
let me show you how this
let me
lands.
show you how it lands. Like, that's really important too. Like, I learned that from that first person I was telling you was kind of a mentor to me. Like, he's like, hey, you wanna with straps, you wanna aim, for, you know, like not all the way to the side of the butt. You want to kind of aim like you're aiming towards the middle of the cheek. And then you want to also do that for the other side as well so that you're landing different hits because these different implements will wrap different ways or hit different ways. And you want it to be good and want it to be what you're intending to be in a
Yeah.
spanking.
And wrapping, I mean, you intentionally do that on me because I
Like it. She
trying
she
to
bruises, yeah.
I bruise better there and I like marks. But yeah, you don't want to unintentionally, I should say, be wrapping too much. And we actually have a strap that we don't really use because it's so long.
Yeah.
That one I have with the hearts on.
Oh yeah, it's hard to like
It's hard to
land it
wear, and
right.
even with you being fine wrapping a little, like that's gone like all the way around
Yeah,
almost to
it's
my
hard. It's like a
yeah,
wiggly noodle thing.
yeah.
It's like hard to describe, but that's once again why I wondered how NYS that big ass strap
Maybe
because
you'll
it's
get
like
to see, I
yeah,
guess.
maybe like stand across the room and
I
spin.
saw a paddle once on Fet that was 2 people long. It
Oh
was
my
a
god.
big giant paddle, and he was paddling 2 butts at once.
Huh.
It was like 3 feet long paddle.
Huh.
It was
Interesting.
crazy. I'm like, how do you even hold that?
Oh, I'll throw in another tidbit here on like places to hit and not. I strongly encourage tops to try hitting from the other side. So if you're right-handed, try going on the other side and hit your bottom from a left-handed position because even the strongest of bottoms, when hit from the other side that they're not normally hit on, you'll get a much better reaction.
Oh, it's very true. I'm much weaker on my left side because most
Hmm.
of the people that I played with are right-handed.
Yeah,
So most of
super
your
fun.
weight goes down to the right side.
It's super fun.
Um,
Yeah, but it also like so with where you're landing hits and stuff like that, it does come down to safety. So like you said, hitting too high and you could break something, you could really hurt somebody. So you have to be really careful where you're hitting. Like we've seen some stuff where people get hit high and it's like, ugh, it's cringy. It's hard to watch because
yeah.
like really painful and like bottoms call red, like really,
Listen to the
really
episode
point them
before
out.
this if you didn't.
Yeah, listen to the safe words because you need to call a safe word on that when you're getting hit too high. Like she always yells at me when I'm too high, like when she thinks I'm too high with the strap, and at least I can like adjust. Like I'm like okay, so I can show her the picture that I'm still on the crack, but I'll still adjust down because I know it's not comfortable.
Yeah, well, and like I said, for me, it's for like I've been hit on my back, not a ton, but there's been a few times that part of it is a, psychosomatic, a little bit of a trauma response where it's just like,
Yeah,
it's a headspace thing. It's like, oh, you're going to hit my back. Like, oh,
yeah,
that's too high. It's too cold.
yeah, for sure.
Um, so I think part of that is just the mental aspect of it because I've been hit. And especially like when it happens, like again, I'm short. I have short legs and I'm short torso. So like when I'm wearing panties, Like you would think the top of my panty line would be the top of my butt, but for me, the top of my panty line is like
Ah,
significantly on my back, like a couple inches up on there. So that's probably the times that I've been
mm.
most accidentally hit there is people like, oh, I'm still on her underwear. I'm like, yeah, but that's my back.
Yeah, but always practice safely. Like we said, there's just some areas you don't want to hit just for safety reasons. Yeah, yeah, I would say that's definitely something to be aware of.
Yeah.
Um, what, yeah, what's with implements though? Like they all make different sounds.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. Like if you are playing in a hotel room or somewhere where you don't want to hear people, you definitely want to go like more cane
Oh, or
or
rubber. The thing I found that works best in a hotel room, like as far as like kind of quietness, or like I don't know, apartment, like if you're really worried about neighbors and stuff. Those like rubber spatulas you can buy from the
mm,
grocery store, they still hurt. They
they're
still
surprisingly stingy.
they're
I have to say.
surprisingly stingy, but they're not very loud. So you really have to think about that when you're
Yeah,
like hand spanking's pretty good, quiet,
belts or
quiet.
can be loud, straps can be loud,
Canes,
patches.
canes are not loud.
No, canes are great for
Canes are good for that.
hotel rooms
We've
and
done that.
places you have. But then, unless you're screaming,
Yeah, that's true.
can
That's
your bottom be quiet enough with the cane? That's the question.
yeah. Well, I, I said this today, but like we were talking about, because I'm always threatening to spank her in different places. And she's like, I don't know if they would really allow that. And I said, well, it's consensual. So, but I had someone tell me that in a hotel room where they did a lot of the spanking, and they had somebody from the next room over come over and be like, we just want to chat and everything. And they just explain that. They're just like, no, it's consensual spanking. Like, she likes it, like. So hopefully you don't have to have that awkward moment.
Oh, that would be so awkward.
It would be so awkward. We've joked that we're like a clapping club.
Yeah, we're gonna go in and do a lot of
We
clapping.
do a lot of clapping and stuff. I swear at some of the hotels I used to stay at,
You
um,
said that one lady at the front
I
desk gave
swear
you.
they know what's going on. Like they're looking at me like, yeah, I don't know. Like, and now I try to be too. We didn't really think about this, but like also like taking these implements different places. It's hard because you're bringing in all these like paddles and they're clunking around. My latest thing that I've been getting into is getting these rifle bags. I've seen people do guitar cases and stuff like that to carry around the implements, but I'm hoping to draw like less attention to it. I think when I was like thinking through that lady thinking she recognized me and that I was doing like spanking stuff, like I had a big duffel bag and things were clinking around in it, and maybe they
Right.
would call. I don't know. But the sound is definitely something to think about. Yeah, and I will say, I would recommend investing in a good double rifle bag. Like I've done this as of recently just to kind of protect the implements because when they're in a big duffel bag, they're kind of like shuffling around and like scratching each other, and they can break and cause things that are not pleasant to be spanked with. So the double rifle bag that I got, I've separated our implements, and it's made it really nice.
Yeah, I like your bag
Yeah, it keeps it safe. But I will say probably like 80% of the implements in our bag are from Aaron and Alpine Impact.
because they're the worst. No, I shouldn't say that. He's amazing and his stuff is amazing, but it's hefty.
It's not for light
We do have
players.
the fire hose strap though, which is really
Yeah,
light and
fire
fun.
hose strap is
So loud, shockingly loud
very loud. They would
for
definitely
how.
know something was going on.
Don't do that in hotel rooms.
Yeah, very, very loud.
But that's light, and I do like the leather strap we have from him a lot.
Yeah,
But most of his stuff is pretty mean,
yeah,
which is why you love it so much.
yeah. Check out our pictures and take a look at the straps and let us know what you think. But those ones are those ones are awesome. Great creations. Aaron, I can't say enough good things about. He's just an amazing, well, person and implement maker. Like we use his stuff because it's quality. Like it's good. It's all finished well.
Yes, and I was just gonna say that. So I had mentioned earlier about my skin. So I can't play with all wood. Like I have my skin will get that like dried out like it scrapes, like if you fall and scrape your knee. and I scar very easily even from my skin breaking a little bit. So there's some paddles that I've bought that I've not been able to use because they're not finished enough. They don't have enough of a lacquer on them or whatever to like make them smooth to where they tear up my skin very easily. I mean, we don't have that problem. I mean, not that my skin never breaks, but I mean, you can beat me pretty heavily with those paddles and it doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
Even there's been a lot of times I've been surprised, even with some of his stuff that like you've spanked me, that I'm like, oh, my skin held up.
I know.
And I mean, that's a testament to the quality of the paddles and how well they're smoothed and finished. And for me as a person who has to be really careful with my sensitive skin, that's huge for us because, like I said, there's paddles that I bought that I'm just like, nope, this is too rough. It's gonna tear me up in a second.
Yeah. Well, and too, like for his paddles too, they're really well balanced. So that means a lot to me. And any implement I'm playing with, like how it feels in my hand and how I can wield it so that I'm not like dropping it or so that it's landing in the right position. It's all like super important.
Yeah, I think that's something unique with what he makes is he always has like really long handles. I think he has big hands, and that he said something about that. That's why
Hmm.
he always makes them with like really good handles because he's had issues with that with like
Hmm.
little tiny handles on paddles.
Yeah.
I feel like we had that conversation before.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I could be totally making that up, but it feels like I think that.
No, it sounds great. But yeah, it's super important. But yeah, that's kind of like implements
101.
101. They're fun. Get them, you know, go to your local hardware store and find some fun stuff.
Check
Or
out Alpine Impact.
yeah, check it out Alpine Impact. They've got a lot of great stuff, and then he can make anything custom for you. Hence where the rubber straps came from, and he can make those same things for you. He's made them for some of our friends and stuff. So just reach out to him. He's all over our Fat Lives. You can find it. And on that note too, so when I do spank you with the rubber straps, I would say you probably need like some aftercare.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how important that is with wielding these implements.
Yes, everyone needs some aftercare. And even I, who am a person I would say doesn't need a ton in the grand scheme of things, aftercare is super important regardless. So we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, we're going to talk about aftercare next time, which is super important. So, well, thanks for listening to us ramble on about these things we friggin' love or love to hate or whatever you said.
Strongly mixed feelings.
Strongly mixed feelings. But yeah, like and subscribe to the podcast and leave us some comments on your favorite implements and stuff like that. And make sure you friend us on Pet Life and check out our pictures and check out Aaron from Alpine Impact. I'm sure he'd be stoked to talk to you guys. And like I said, I can't recommend his stuff enough. It's probably 80% of our implement bag. I would say like my carry on to any play party is going to be 80% Alpine Impact stuff that makes up my bag because it's quality and it helps me hit all those areas safely, like we talked about in the episode. And that's what's really important. So thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.